What is up, guys? We are here for a new gameplay video today, and this time it's a little bit more in ahead of time. So obviously by the title, we're going to be driving as Carlos Sainz in the Renault around Austin. So obviously he's replacing Jolyon at the USA Grand Prix. They've kind of ended his contract prematurely, brought Sainz in, and that's really all there is to it. So Carlos Sainz is teaming up with Nico Hulkenberg. I nearly said Nico Rosberg then, which will be interesting to see because the Renault is a good car. It's better than the Toro Rosso, I think, by far. It's going to be interesting to see how it works. We don't know what's going on with Toro Rosso because Kvyat's obviously coming back. Gasly might be going back to Super Formula, so we're not actually sure who'll be with Kvyat. It could be Gasly. But the Honda people who are obviously in charge of the team in Super Formula, who are also supplying Toro Rosso for the 2018 season, they want Gasly to complete the Super Formula Championship. So it's a bit of a mess, to say the least. But either way, Renault are sorted. They've got Carlos Sainz in their car for the final 4 races. Yeah, 4 races. But the helmet on screen at the moment is it's just one that I mocked up because I didn't really see the point in using his Toro Rosso helmet because he will change it slightly. I reckon he'll probably change the colour based on the fact that the colour of his current helmet at Toro Rosso was basically the same colour as the car. So I've gone with a yellow and black design. There's a picture of it on screen now. It's literally nothing fancy. It's got the Red Bull logos on the side of the helmet like normal, but it's so fine and so dark you can't really see it unless it's in a proper light, but you can see it a little bit. But on like a 3D model, you can see it. It looks awesome. Unfortunately, you're not going to get to see it in the game because towards the end of the video something weird happens and it's really annoying. But I'm going to get on the way. I'm not going to be talking too much about the gameplay per se. I'm mentioning like little bits here and there, but it's more focused on Carlos Sainz. So obviously the Japanese Grand Prix happened about a few hours ago, earlier today, or this morning, and yeah, he really didn't have a great start. He crashed out on lap 1, which was, it could be his last race for Toro Rosso, but at the same time he's still a Red Bull driver until the end of 2018 at least, because he's got a 1-year deal at Renault, but then after that, depending on what Verstappen and Ricciardo do, he could either go to Red Bull or he could probably stay at Renault. I think worst case scenario, they won't get Sainz back if Ricciardo or Verstappen don't leave, but Sainz is a great driver. He'll go anywhere really. It's about time. Like, he's like what Hulkenberg should have done many seasons ago, go from like Force India to a different team, like a works team. And obviously Sainz came in at 2015. 3 seasons later he's in a works team, which is obviously good for him. It can show off his potential, because obviously at Toro Rosso, when Verstappen was there, they were nip and tuck, like they were very, very close, and that was Lance Stroll going completely sideways. We got a replay of what happened to Lance. I'm not sure what happened. Like, even on the replay, he goes over the curb a little bit and he just loses it. I think that was down to the shark fin on the back just making the car just lose every bit of grip it had and sent him into the wall. But it'll be interesting to see how he performs. I reckon he's got a good opportunity here that doesn't come round very often for most drivers. I mean, Jolyon Palmer obviously had that chance in the Renault this season, but he isn't really up to scratch. Like, he is a world champion, he's a GP2 world champion, but obviously that doesn't carry enough weight in Formula 1 because, as far as I know, like, Palmer doesn't really have much backing bar his dad, because obviously his dad runs Brands Hatch, many other things apart from that, and it's not really much of an impact. Then obviously you've got Hulkenberg, who, I mean, he's not really got any sponsors on his helmet, let alone the car, I don't think. So Carlos Sainz has the Spanish drink sponsor on the front of his helmet, which is also on the barge boards of the Toro Rosso. So I want to assume that's going to transfer over to Renault, somewhere on the car. I'm not sure where it's going to go, but it'll go somewhere maybe. I reckon that'll get off the Toro Rosso, and Toro Rosso, I don't know what they're going to put there on their barge boards now, because I don't think they'll be able to keep the sponsor if they're sponsoring Sainz, and obviously Sainz ain't driving for them. So it's interesting. We're going to come into the pit lane now. We're behind Denny Kvyat Pierre Gasly continues on, which is the guy who we are replacing. So Kvyat, Kvyat's a bit all over the place, to be fair. So we're going to come in. Our pit box is right at the end of the lap. So that's pretty disappointing. So we're going to get held up by Red Bull, Toro Rosso, Williams, Force India, Haas, and we finally get underway, which is really freaking irritating. But so we're practically last at this point, thanks to being held up. And it was a bit of a shock to see how close the Red Bull was in terms of us. If we'd got straight out, we'd have jumped to Red Bull, which would have been awesome for us. But we managed to get back up to 12 after everyone's made their pit stop, so we're not too far behind. We was in between the Toro Rossos, give or take. So we'll have to do what we can to catch up. But again, like I said, it's a fantastic opportunity for Sainz. I hope he really does grab it by the horns and actually make it work for him. Toro Rosso, on the other hand, they're going to be in a bit of an issue if the Honda engine doesn't work. If it works how it has towards the back end of this season, then they should be okay, depending on how good their chassis is. But it's been a real poor back end of the season for Toro Rosso. I think the only highlight really was Sainz getting 4th place in Singapore, and obviously they've lost Sainz now for at least a year. It's I don't know, it's really weird. I mean, Sainz today in the race, he didn't really have much to lose. He was starting from the back. He had Alonso alongside him, and he went for a move through the S section, and he just lost it, put it straight in the wall, walked back to the garage. Kind of a sour way to end his Toro Rosso career, but fair play to him. He apologised on the radio, same did the Toro Rosso guys, it's okay. But yeah, there's not much you can do. I do feel a bit bad for Palmer being shoved out of an F1 seat, not even at the end of the season. So that's Kvyat now also, who shares his pain, but I don't know where Palmer's going to go. I don't see him getting the Renault seat. I don't see him getting a Williams seat. I don't see where Joe Newton can really go. He can't go to WEC. He could go Formula E, I suppose. There might be a few seats there available, but I don't know. I don't think he'll really fit in with the whole Formula E scene, let alone anything else. But Daniel Ricciardo actually had an issue. That's why he was going really slowly. And my engineer was like, Ricciardo's got an issue, blah, blah, blah. Same as Bottas, but the difference is Bottas actually managed to pick a pit. So I think he might have had a puncture or he lost his front wing. But either way, Bottas is now behind me and Gasly. Gasly actually does manage to take the position of Bottas. So we're in P5, Gasly in P6. And then there's Lewis Hamilton out of the race. And he was in, I think it was P2. Because it went Verstappen, Raikkonen, assuming it was Bottas. We're going to have a look. We tried looking for Hamilton, but we can't actually see him because he'd already retired by this point, which is kind of annoying. Because I wanted to see where Hamilton was and what happened to him exactly. But you can see on the little mini-map, we have got the yellow flag section. So he's not too far there. And if you look over the crest here, just on the left-hand side, you can see the Mercedes parked up over there by the wall. We're going to drive past him just to add insult to injury, but I reckon this is exactly what Ferrari need. At the USA Grand Prix, this Hamilton parked up on the right hand side. He did say he had vibrations on his power unit on the radio after the race, so that's going to be interesting to see how that develops. And will he take a penalty in USA? Maybe. I mean, the gap is humongous, let's be honest. I don't see Vettel really winning it now. It was wasn't likely before, but even now more so with the points gap we've got. But it could happen if Hamilton has 2 DNFs. He'd still be behind. 3 out of 4 DNFs is really, really unlikely, considering how bulletproof Hamilton's Mercedes has been. But I don't want him to break Kimi's, consecutive point finishes. I don't want him to beat that. That belongs to Kimi. We're going to come up to an issue now. I talked about at the beginning with the game. So this happened twice during the race, one in the replay mode, and now you'll see. So I'm just driving along down the start-finish straight, coming up the hill, looking to defend from Bottas, and then the game, what it'll do, it will just freeze. And usually what happens in this, the car will still be revving, like non-stop, so it's just the same sound, repeating, and eventually it will start working, and in some cases it crashes the desktop, which unfortunately in this case it did, so I didn't get the rest of the race or finish it, but I felt like we got enough of the race done that, it doesn't really matter. But anyway, that's been it for this Carlos Sainz video, guys. I'll see you in the next one. Until then, guys, I'll see you later. Bye-bye.